here is page 5 of your notes. So here we're going to dive just a little bit deeper with DNA. So DNA is the shape of a double helix. So if you were to take a ladder and pretend that you can twist it, then you would get this double helix shape. So it's hard to kind of visualize, but that ladder would be twisted rather than straight. So it would eventually look like this in a way. So that double helix is important because it allows the DNA to scrunch up to be very, very small to fit into all of these nuclei that are in your cells. Now, what is DNA actually made up of? So nucleotide are the pieces of the DNA double helix. So it's the units that make up DNA. And one nucleotide would be one sugar, one nitrogen base, and one phosphate. So if you look at my drawing right here, just this piece, the A, the S, and the P, is one nucleotide. So we could even circle that. And label that nucleotide. So I'm going to use the Lego example again. So one Lego would be one nucleotide, but if you put a bunch of Legos together, then you get a whole DNA double helix. So this is a nucleotide, this is a nucleotide, this is a nucleotide, this one is a nucleotide, these three, and these three. Now, of course, the double helix will go on and on and on, but obviously I didn't have enough room to draw an entire DNA sequence. That would take me literally all day. So, again, the nucleotide is one nitrogen base, one sugar, and one phosphate. So let's even label that just so we are familiar. So the A is the nitrogen base, and we're going to talk more about that here in just a second. The S is the sugar, and then the P is the phosphate. So the backbone comes next. So the backbone is just the phosphate and the sugar part. Okay, so that is what helps DNA keep its structure. The nitrogen base is the gooey stuff in the center, and arguably the most important stuff. So remember that when I told you that DNA is the instructions for the human body? So these nitrogen bases, whatever order they are in, that represents the instructions. And then you can think of the phosphate and the sugar as the outer part of the instruction booklet for protection. So phosphate and sugar is the backbone, and then the nitrogen bases are what's important, and they're on the inside. So the sugar, if you want to know what type of sugar it is called deoxyribose. That is the type of sugar. Phosphate, it is made up of phosphorus and oxygen. So remember, phosphate, because it has two types of atoms, phosphorus and oxygen, phosphate is a molecule. So we can even write that down. So see how this information all builds on itself. And then the sugar is, of course, made up of several atoms. We have oxygen, and then we have a bunch of other stuff that has nicknames to make up the deoxyribose part. So the sugar is also a molecule as well. Now for the nitrogen bases, which is the important part, we have 4 letters. We have an A, which represents adenine or adenine. We have the T, which represents thymine. We have the G, which is guanine, and the C, which is cytosine. Now, these pairs are married. They can't just go and connect with any of these other types of nitrogen bases. So the adenine and the thymine have to go together. They are a couple, they are married, they will never separate. The guanine and the cytosine, they are a different couple. They are married and they will never separate. So that means that you cannot pair up adenine with guanine and thymine with cytosine. That breaks the rules. So adenine and thymine always have to go together. Guanine and cytosine always have to go together. So that is why on my drawing here, you see A and T paired up together, C and G paired up together, and then another TA paired up together. So you have adenine, thymine, thymine, adenine, and you have cytosine and guanine. Now on your DNA strand that is an assignment, let me grab that really fast. It's the sheet that looks like this. This will help you when you go to do this assignment. So you are going to cut out this strand and this strand, and you're going to tape them together to where they look like this. So it's going to be kind of long, but I have faith that you can do it. So then on the left side, and all these squares, you're going to put a random order of A, T's, C's, and G's. It does not matter if you have 10 A's in a row or 10 G's in a row. It does not matter, because this is your individual instruction book. So you get to control what it says. So this is my random order, and I didn't go all the way down. But you are going to fill out the entire left side of both strands. Okay? Once you fill out the left side, then on the right side, you're going to put the pair. So if you remember, A and T's go together. So if you have an A on the left side, then that automatically means you have to have a T on the right side. If you have a C on the left side, you have to have a G on the right side. If you have a G on the left side, you have to have a C on the right side. So I'm hoping that you see the pattern here. So use your notes when you get to this assignment to help you do this, to remember which letters go together. And that will conclude DNA.